And we're back for another episode. In this episode, we're going to be carrying on the main story in Final Fantasy XIV's expansion, Endwalker. And as always, hello from Mithrie. So we are here in Elpis at 8:31, and I did do one dungeon to level up to level 87. So let's talk now to Hypholodius. The quest is called Travelers at the Crossroad. Hypholodius wishes to discuss plans for the remainder of your visit. So where to now? If there's anywhere you would like to visit before we leave, I should be glad to show you the way. Hermes has not yet outright refused his position with the convocation, merely postponed the decision. As such, I may as well resume my assessment. If we cannot accompany him, then I will content myself with questioning his colleagues. Ever the pragmaticist. Then allow me to remain your humble guide. And what of you, Mithrie? Will you continue along with us? Wonderful. Our fellowship travels on unbroken. I say that we explore another part of Elpis and see what new encounters there are to be had. If you follow me, we will first head back towards Anagnorisis. Okay, I should be able to teleport right there. Okay, they're halfway in between. So, let's go. Okay, so we call up to Hypholodius, so let's talk to him. So from here, we follow the path northwards to Notnius. There we will find one of the Neos, which facilitate travel between the islands of Elpis. First-time travelers must be accompanied by someone with the requisite permission, which I have previously been granted. We only need use the device together once, and henceforth you'll have leave to use it freely. Shall we? Fair enough, makes sense. Okay, so let's catch up with him again. Okay, we caught up with him again. So here we are, Notnius. This Neos will take us to Calamelius Zephyros, the western island. That's it right there, looming large over us. Have this way and we can soon admire the view from above. These names.
I present to you Calamelios Zephyros. Here you will find a number of testing facilities, as well as the observation hub of Poiton Oikos. Right then. Let's begin by...
Random Spriggan.
An Arraius. How delightful.
And what, pray tell, is that?
Ah, that's a new species of shark. We approved the concept but a few days ago. Sharks are among the most popular sea creatures. Rare is the day when someone does not submit a new concept. At first, they were largely orthodox, consideration given to such things as size and environmental impact. And then a whimsical someone thought to bestow it with flight. Another, superior intelligence. And then the floodgates burst. Concepts with multiple heads, or arms and legs, and so on and so forth. It was getting absurd. A part of me wanted to tell them to go away and find something else to create, but in the end I couldn't deny their passion. And here we are.
Jeez. So. That
That
Heidelin.
was too close. Are you unharmed? Well now, if it isn't a pair of familiar faces.
Banar, that we should meet you here.
As I mentioned earlier, the better part of the convocation holds that when we retire is when we return to the star. Well, she is not among said majority. Even after stepping down, she carries on with her work. Vanar is her name, and she is the previous Azem.
It has been a while, Hythlodaeus. You look well. Less so, Emmet Selk. I dare say the lines upon your brow have both deepened and doubled in number. A shame for one so young. You must make an effort to frown less often.
Easier said than done, thanks to your unruly successor.
How is she, if I may ask?
Incorrigible as ever. Rushed headlong into a volcano on the brink of eruption just the other day. I should be glad to share the tale in its entirety later, if you're so inclined.
Oh, you know I am. Now then, you are? I say, have you perchance come from the future?
Like, how did you know?
I do not believe we have ever met, yet I sense my magic upon you. Therefore, if I wove the enchantment, I could only have done so at a later point in time.
What manner of magic is this, if I may ask?
A traveler's ward, of course. It prevents the corruption of one's ether.
Sounds rather like the Blessing of Light. Does it protect you from enthrallment by primals by any chance?
Primals, you say? But I'm not familiar with such beings. But if they enthrall by warping the balance of ether, then yes, the magic would afford you a measure of protection. I gather from your question that you are not ignorant to its presence.
Hold on. From the future? That's absurd.
What is it? Are you unable to speak of the matter?
The reality to which you must return exists as a result of the final days. You cannot reshape the past to undo the tragedies of the present.
So, your actions here will not change your history, but they may yet affect the course of ours. How very exciting! I'm quite fond of delving into the unknown, and there's naught more unknown than the future. Until a moment finally arrives, we cannot know for certain what will come to pass, regardless of our supposed foreknowledge, so you needn't worry for us. More importantly, that you should go to such great lengths as to travel unto the past bespeaks the gravity of your quest. Will you not reveal it to us? Mayhap we can be of aid to your cause.
If this is true, then you've been keeping quite the secret to yourself. As a representative of the Convocation, I will hear it all. Your identity, purpose, everything.
Why don't we move to a place more conducive to calm conversation? I've been working here for some days now at an old friend's behest. If it is agreeable, we may make use of my accommodation at Poiton Oikos. We were meant to meet. I am certain of it. Else I wouldn't have marked you so clearly, and sent you unto myself in the past. It's precisely the sort of mischief I would get up to, and quite inspired, if I do say so myself.
Interesting. Interesting. Alright, let's talk to Vinat. My apologies, but before we move along, a colleague has tasked me with a matter which I'd rather not leave unresolved. It involves finding a certain concept engraved crystal, and quick-fingered Aureas which made off with it. An Aurea, you say? I think we might have seen the culprit before being distracted by that business with the shark. Would you like us to follow its ethereal trail? That would of course lead us only to the Aureas. There is no guarantee that it hasn't dropped or stashed away the crystal you seek. Please, even that much would be enormously helpful. While you are hunting down the thief, I can follow behind and scour the forest floor just in case. Could I ask you to join the search? I would appreciate another pair of eyes to cover the land to the west of here. Many thanks. There's a small bridge leading into Poiton Oikos. Let us meet up there once we've exhausted our efforts. Okay, so we need to search for the crystal. So let's go. Okay, so I managed to get to the place. So let's see this concept crystal. Alright, so now we have to deliver the crystal back to Vinat. So let's go. Okay, so we caught up with her, so let's talk to her. So our last searcher returns. I am afraid the Aureas no longer had the crystal, nor was I able to find it as I followed in its wake. I don't suppose you fared any better. Okay, let's hand over the concept crystal. It says a scintillating crystal upon which is stored some manner of esoteric concept. The crystal, well done. Wonderful. Now I can focus on your tale without that missing concept nagging at my mind. Have you always had a knack for finding things? I've often been asked to do so. Traveling and searching go hand in hand. Oh, you two? Some of us seem destined to always be searching, for ourselves and for others. Long ago, when I held the seat of Azem, I was forever trekking back and forth across the star in search of answers to people's problems. Naturally, the need for such journeys has lessened considerably since I entrusted the position to my whimsical successor. Yet I am still eager to come running should an old acquaintance or new interest require my personal attention. That is what brings me to Elpis, in fact. Many times has my presence been requested, my opinions sought concerning the habitat of this or that creation. Agreeing to help locate that missing crystal was a minor distraction, which now promises to become a major revelation. How strange and wonderful it is the way one thing leads to another. Wouldn't you agree? Sure. Alright, and then the next quest is called A Past Not Yet Come to Pass. Vanette is in a cheerful mood. Thank you again for your timely help. Now then, 'tis time I returned this stolen property. If you go on ahead to my accommodation, I will join you as soon as I have attended to that task. Follow the path straight ahead to the building at the top of the slope. I have the entire place to myself, so can speak without fear of being disturbed or overheard. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to go to the next place. So, let's go. Okay, so we caught up to Vanette, so let's talk to her. So, welcome to my temporary abode. Please make yourself at home while I put on some tea.
Ah, a wonderful aroma. I feel more relaxed already.
Would that I had sweetmeats to offer, but I travel light out of habit. There's plenty of hot water though, so please have as much tea as you like. Now then, will you tell us your tale?
There used to be 1.0, and it really, really sucked really badly. And then they made 2.0, and the game got good. So, sorry, let me read what it actually says. Calamity called the final days has befallen the world. The world has been sundered, broken into shards. Mankind is being forced to flee the star.
Why don't you start from the beginning?
Like that this is a piano medley of answers. I'm surprised you would tell him.
Preposterous. Utterly preposterous.
While not the words I would have chosen, I too have my doubts. Much of it borders on the incredulous. What of you, Vanar?
Not knowing the precise details of the first final days, it is difficult to determine the veracity of the tale. Supposing it is all true, I must ask myself why I would do what I did. Why would I feel I had no recourse but to oppose the 14 and create this Hydaelyn? Circumstances change, of course, but it would not have been an easy decision regardless. No, there must have been a reason. One compelling enough to force me to take such drastic measures. Then there is the Elpis flower, which I said would serve as a guide. That it's of import to your mission is plain, but your presence here leads me to believe that this place also holds significance. But what could it be? What are we meant to accomplish?
Might it not be simply thus? In the future, whence she came, the final days could not be averted. Mankind has no choice but to flee the star. By alerting us to that eventuality, perhaps you wish to pave the way for other futures.
Theoretically speaking, it is a possibility. Yet if that were my primary objective, I see no reason to guide our friend to Elpis specifically. The capital and Amarot, or even my own home would be more logical destinations.
True, true. I note also that Hydaelyn did not specify a point in time to which she must return. By this, it may be inferred that it was not critical that we should meet.
Alternately, she had reason to believe that our paths would converge, coincidental though it may seem.
This is quite a puzzle, and we do not have all the pieces.
Hardly any. But we do have one immutable fact. If the final days are indeed as described, they will bring death to all that I hold dear. Yet despite being afforded long years of preparation, the only provisions I could make were for flight. Nay, my first and foremost endeavor would be to find a way to forestall the coming doom.
Given that even the 14 failed, mayhap you deemed it impossible.
Nothing is impossible. This I have always believed. And if Hydaelyn is indeed me, she would believe the same.
Listen to yourself. Are you seriously entertaining the notion that you are a messianic figure in some far-fetched tale? Well, I will not. I refuse to accept that our world could be undone by some unforeseen calamity. I also take offense to my portrayal as a megalomaniacal madman.
Yeah.
To sacrifice oneself for the star is a noble act, and I would hold those who gave themselves to this zodiac in the highest esteem. Yet, you claim I recreated Amarot and populated it with phantoms of our people? A bizarre indulgence that would be insulting to their memory. Worse still, I even invited you there. Literally invited my own downfall. Why would I do something so idiotic and inexplicable? Now, I will allow that the hypothetical task of restoring our world would be daunting in the extreme. The thought of having to bear such a burden for 1,000 lives horrifies me. But I would never forsake my duty. I would never forsake my brethren. You do not know me. I've had my fill of your fiction. I will return to my duty, and you will not bother me again.
Bye.
Emmett Selk, wait!
You've seen much of Elpis already. If you have any observations to share, I should like to hear them.
Dynamis is key to all of this. Hermes and Mithrie are somehow involved. I'm still trying to make sense of it all.
I see. Then for now, it might be best that we follow your lead and investigate he who will become Fandaniel. And if Dynamis is the selfsame energy as Akasha, as it likely seems, we would do well to learn more about it. With that settled, it is time for action. The missing pieces of the puzzle are here, I'm certain of it. And when you find them, the picture my future self has painted will be complete, and you will have your answer. And suffice it to say, I will aid you in your quest. Have faith. If Emmet Selk is the man Azum described to me, we've not seen the last of him.
Oh, let's talk to her again. So, shall we begin our investigations then? I am acquainted with Hermes, of course, but only as a visitor received by the Chief Overseer of Elpis. Of the man himself, I know only that which is common knowledge. Thus, I suggest we fall back on the tried and true method of conversing with the locals. The observers who live here can surely tell us more of Hermes and Mithrie, and I have a good idea of where we might begin. Fair enough. So, let's catch up with her. Okay, so we caught up with her. So, see you the woman standing in front of yonder building? Her name is Ismeni. She is the one who made arrangements for my stay in Elpis, and from what I can recall, she has held her position here for quite some time. Chances are she can provide us with some insights. Go and ask your questions, and I will help with drawing out answers if need be, but I leave the choice of topic up to you. Okay. So questions for me? Well, I suppose I have no other pressing duties at the moment. The following event cannot be skipped. You may wish to cancel any duties. Okay. Begin asking questions. Greetings, Ismeni. My friend here is desperately curious about Chief Hermes, and I was wondering if you might indulge her. Certainly, Mistress Vanette. Anything to be of service. What do you wish to know? What kind of person is Hermes? Well, I can only answer from my own experience, but I would describe him as a quiet man, reserved, you might say, and occasionally somewhat poor with his choice of words. His reticent nature, however, does not prevent him from carrying out his duties as Chief Overseer. The man is a walking archive when it comes to life forms. He can discuss any species in incredible detail and is a leading authority on concepts with the power of flight. I hope that answers your question. Was there anything else? How long has Mithrie been here? You know of her abilities. It's no secret that she is highly unusual familiar. Of late, the chief often makes his rounds with her, like a mother hen raising her chick. I understand that she is able to read emotions and communicate directly with one's mind. Exactly how she was created with that talent, however, is a mystery to me. My apologies, I wish I could explain her nature in more depth, but I've not had occasion to discuss it with Chief Hermes. Do you wish you knew him better? The Chief may not be the most gracious individual, but he engages with us as is necessary for everyone to perform their duties. I wouldn't want to intrude upon his privacy for the sake of curiosity. Though, if you wish to learn more about Mitoyan, you could try speaking with Timios, another expert in the creation of flying concepts. He should be conducting his observations on the banks of the stream somewhere to the east. Oh, and unless you take a particular joy in rambling discourse, I suggest you keep your questions concise. We shall keep that in mind. Thank you for your patience and your insight. Think nothing of it. If there is aught else you need during your stay, please do not hesitate to ask. Oh, Mithrie, I think we've taken enough of Ismene's time. Alright, so let's talk to her again. She's right next to us. So our investigation is off to a fine start, wouldn't you agree? From here, I propose that we split up. I shall continue making inquiries with the resident observers. If you could track down the colleague Ismene mentioned. Given how you steered that previous conversation, it's plain you need no assistance from me. All I ask is that you watch your footing around the stream. We can meet back here once you finish speaking with this Timios. Okay, so where is Timios? Other side of town. Alright, let's go find him. Okay, we caught up to him, so let's talk to him. So, yes, I am Timios, but please keep your voice down. You'll startle the birds. Calling event cannot be skipped. So, what is it that you wish to speak about? Is it true that you're an expert on flying creatures? What do you think of Chief Hermes' flying creatures? Chief Hermes' work, a worthy subject indeed. Those beings which soar through the clouds, majestic and graceful, are ever a favourite of creators. Even now, with so many varieties in existence, the flood of newly imagined concept continues unabated. What sets the Chief's creations apart, however, is how they benefit from his boundless knowledge of the celestial realm. Birds that climb so high that they disappear from view, others which traverse the boundless skies in moments, and all without riding the currents. And of none save he who can conceive of such marvels. Even we who prize elegance of form above all else are dumbfounded by his genius. Why not mimic his process? Mithrie 2 is a marvel then. My opinion on that matter would be superficial at best. Despite my admiration for Mithrie as a concept, I have never delved too deeply into the inner workings of her nature. I know that she has a gift for communicating via emotions, but otherwise her abilities are a mystery to me. If Chief Hermes should choose to submit Mithrie's concept to the Bureau of the Architect, then will the design be registered for public scrutiny. Analyzing a colleague's creation before that step is frowned upon, to say the least. Of course, if he came to me, a fellow artisan, looking for advice, that would be an entirely different story. You know of Dynamis and Teleshis? I could tell you more of Mithrie's nature if you like. Dynamis and Enteleshis. Those names do sound vaguely familiar. Was there not a flower made here in Elpis which exhibited properties of one or the other? It must have been centuries since I last heard anyone speak of such things. Has it been a resurgence of interest? Then why bring up the subject? I am flattered that you sought my insight, but I cannot afford to neglect my duties for the sake of idle chatter. Now, I must really return to my observations. Surely you have your own tasks to attend to. Cool. Alright, let's go back and speak with Bernat. Okay, we've made it back to her, so let's talk to her again. So, back already, that was quick work. You were obviously clever enough to head off any of that rambling Ismene mentioned. So, have you any findings to share? I see. Even an expert in the field had little understanding of Matoyan's capabilities, let alone an awareness of Dynamis. My questions resulted in much of the same answers. Hermes' colleagues view Matoyan as his personal project, and could provide no details beyond those which you just told me, which leads me to believe that the only person with any significant knowledge of Dynamis is Hermes himself. Yes, we've made some progress here, but more information is needed if we are to reach any definitive conclusions. Cool, that's complete. So, anyway guys, that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and as always, goodbye from me, and goodbye from Mithrie. Bye guys.